Next, we have a comment from Jesse McCune. They say, as a podcast editor, I understand where you're coming from with editing. It's something we all deal with. One thing I often ask myself when editing is, will someone stop listening or watching if I leave this in? Usually the answer is no. I do commend you, though, because you leave in enough imperfection to let your humanness and personality come through. Many will scrub out so much that there's no personality left. That is always the challenge with editing, and I'm never left thinking, I wish Bandrew would have edited out this weird pronunciation and fun he had with it, or that this video has none of his personality. This is the mark of a good editor, not a neurotic one. Jesse, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for that incredibly kind conclusion there. I wanted to include this because I think that's really important to discuss. When you edit, it is easy to over-edit, remove all humanity, all humanness, all personality from a show. And if you're able to edit out wasted time without editing out the personality, that is what we should all be aiming for. In the past, I have discussed how to stop saying and how to reduce the use of filler words. My advice was go in and edit them out. The action of doing that is like negative reinforcement. Every time you say that wasted 10 seconds of your life editing. And that is going to create a very strong negative incentive to dissuade you from saying, when you're speaking. So although that may not be the best advice, nowadays it seems as though there's this pushback against over-editing, against sounding too perfect. I still think that is a really good way to go about it if you do use filler words too much and you want to train yourself to stop saying them. Instead of filling every single break with noise, pause. That was a good thought that I just had. Do that as opposed to, I don't know. I guess I had a thought. That's not fun to listen to. If that happens once in a show, fine. Leave it in. But I have heard people speak on microphone that are so, how do I say this kindly? They are people in positions where they ought to be able to speak clearly, concisely, well, and every other word was And I was ready to put my face through a monitor, through a plate glass window. It was maddening. If that is you, where you are saying every other word or using a filler word every other word, do some training, do some practicing. On the note of practicing, I'm going to bring in a clip from my B&H photo talk. Let's go ahead and include that. I wasn't planning on doing this either. This is just a loosey-goosey episode. Here's what I had to say about practicing. As far as the preparing for your show to try to limit the amount of edits, I know a lot of people, they will only record when they're actually recording their podcast. A couple years ago, I wasn't happy with my skill on mic. So instead of just recording on mic for the podcast, I would record every single day. I didn't plan on publishing it, but I practiced every single day because that gives me 365 podcasts essentially to get better at it. And by doing that, that alleviated a lot of the time in editing because I got better at speaking on microphone, at performing, for lack of a better word. So do not be scared of actually practicing podcasting because it is a learned skill.
Yeah. Wow, Perfect advice.
Great point.
Wow, thanks, Past Bandrew, and thank you to B&H for having me. If you want to check out the full episode, the full Creator Roundtable, I will link it in the episode notes. Go check it out. Tom Buck and Luria Petrucci shared so much great insight into podcasting, and I think it's a great place to start if you want to get into podcasting or get a little bit of inspiration, perhaps, different ways to approach things, anything like that. Really ton of fun being a part of that.